Lightning like Steve McQueen. I'm in the fast lane when the light turns green. And I built tough, I ain't nothing but grit. Cause I made rugged blood, sweat, and spit. Yeah, like a horse I fly. Better push yourself in for a bumpy ride. I like to play hard, but I work harder. And I weather the storm cause I'm built stronger.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is the Freight Coach Morning Show, the top morning show in transportation, coming to you every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines and, most importantly, provide some actual insight on what you can do with all this information, and so you can apply it and utilize it and see a meaningful difference in your business and your life. Because at the end of the day, you guys, this is all a value exchange. I just want to see you guys grow in your business, and frankly, it's why I fly the American flag proudly behind me every single day, is because I'm living my American dream, and I want each and every one of you guys to live your American dream as well. We got some cool articles to break down today. Got some just updates on what's going on out there in the market and everything else. And I'll be rocking solo today. No guests today. But yeah, we'll get in here and get going. And before I do that, as always, you guys got to give a shout out to my friends over at VHub, vhubapp.com. Whether you're a broker, carrier, or shipper alike, at some point in time, we all need trailers. And with what they are, and what, especially like with the market shifting and everything right now, it's always important to, how do you separate yourself out there? That's one of the biggest questions I get all the time, is how do I separate myself in the freight market? And it's like learning how to create a drop trailer pool at your customer is very, very beneficial overall. With what they're working on right now, though, you guys, is you get paid $700 to move a reefer trailer from Clearfield, Utah to Henderson, Colorado. And that's on top of the freight that you put, the revenue from the freight that you put in back of it right now. So like if you're a small fleet, or, you know, an owner op leased on, you don't have to shut your operation down if your trailer's in the shop. You can go on there and check out their platform right now. And then they also have San Diego, California, going over to Selma, Texas. You get paid $750 to move that reefer. So again, you guys hit them up, vhubapp.com. My friend Xavier Campos and Stacy Steen, they'll be in the audience. Just do me a favor, let them know that the Freight Coach sent you. Zach Williams, what's up, brother? Let's fucking go. You are correct, sir. And hell, you guys join the SPI team, man. You want to take control of your financial future? Become a freight agent, man. Hit him up. Hit up Zach Williams. Anybody over at SPI. Brian Hagan, what's up, brother? Good morning. Papa Freight, what's up? Good morning. Time for the news. Matt Fink, my man. Let's fucking go indeed. Drew Driscoll, let's fucking go. I love it. Jeffrey Weiss, what's up, brother? Otto, I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. Cody Miller, he's back. Good fucking morning to you as well, freight enthusiasts. And let's make a strong case of the week and carry that new quarter energy momentum. Amen to that. Dominic, what is up, my man? Good morning. Bill McIntyre, let's fucking go. All right, dude. Let's so we had our first, obviously my business partner with Broker Carrier was on yesterday, Kyle, and we did our first mastermind call last night for our clients at Broker Carrier, and just did some sales training and everything else out there. Because again, you guys, we're not looking to just be a technology company or a freight software company or whatever buzzword is out there in the world. We literally just want to help our clients win. You know, yes, we feel that we have the best onboarding tool out there, as well as a way for you to build out your carrier network through our load announcements and everything that is free it's included in the on the platform for you guys to use. And, you know, me personally, you guys, we want to help our clients grow their business as a whole. And that's the benefit that you get with partnering with us. Is I've sat in the seat of every brokerage out there. I'm building a freight brokerage myself. So I'm going through that. And that's what we're going to do for, you know, that's our commitment to all of our clients and everything as well. And got to give myself a shameless plug every once in a while, you guys, because I got to keep these lights on as well. But yeah, so we did that last night. Sonny Sharma, he was there. He's a user. Good fucking morning to you, sir. Adam Gillis, good morning. Steve Ferreira, my man. Dude, I got to get you back on. It's been a hot minute. You got to get on here, dude. Yeah, so that being said, let's do some market updates. It's looking very interesting out there right now. So out here, I'm going to put this is just random, you guys. I am pulling this up from DAT. And just looking at their market conditions report, outbound Nashville reefer, we're going random right now. All right, moderately tight capacity. There's about 3,500 loads to 3,000 trucks as a whole. And if you're going inbound Philly, like if you're running Nashville to Philly right now, it's moderately tight capacity is there as well. It's kind of 1-to-1. So for me, you guys, again, what are you going to do with this information? I think that it's going to definitely, if you're going to play the spot market, this is definitely going to affect your pricing going in and out of there, because again, it's kind of that 1-to-1 ratio. It's not like there's an influx of, or like an influx of trucks to freight and everything, where you're gonna have more options out there. So again, and it looks like if we're pulling this off of, let me see here. This is an 8-day forecast of where it's at, so that's going to tell you pretty much something that you need to see here for the next these past 8 days. Excuse me. Let's see here. Inbound Nashville reefer, outbound Philly. If you're going the other direction, inbound Nashville, very neutral out there in the market right now. And then in outbound Philly reefer, if you're working in that market right now, it is very tight capacity out there. There's about 5,000 extra loads to trucks right now in the outbound Philly market. So you guys price accordingly for this stuff. Peak season, no matter what data people want to throw out there. I mean, freight volumes are still up overall, but there's still a need to execute. It's easy to sit here and point at a graph or something and say it's going down or it's going up. But frankly, I know the shippers who watch this show need solutions and execution. And you can't necessarily bring that to them as a whole with that. But let's see here. We got, Matt Fink says, Steve Ferreira in the house, time to amp up the game in the presence of the legend. Yes, Steve Ferreira is a legend. Brian Wineland, what's up, brother? Good morning. And yes, let me see here. We got some interesting articles to break down. Let me see. We are up to, before I forget, this is the 129th Freight Coach Morning Show that we're up to right now. And it's also the subtle reminder of there being a truck parking issue as well as a facilities issue in this industry. And again, we're not going to stop talking about this when it is convenient for us to get those vanity metrics that are out there. And yeah, it's a core issue of this industry about some of these things. And in my personal opinion, we got to stop treating the symptoms as a whole. We got to fix the fucking issues of it before we're going to progress and everything else. And that's what I'm committed to through all of my content and everything else. You guys, just to continuously put best practices out there for people. Because, and the podcast episode that I'm dropping tomorrow with a friend of mine, John, who owns Origin Transport out of Las Vegas, we were talking about that. Like we got to overload the market with best practices, because that's going to raise everything up. That's going to raise the standards of this industry. And I think it's going to make all of it. It's not going to create the kumbaya scenario, but it's going to help us just move this industry forward as a whole. And that's just what I'm committed to. You guys, like, again, for people to sit here and say like, oh, I just, the pie, like the fucking opportunities out there are endless, you guys. There is freight literally everywhere. No matter how you want to spin it, there's freight everywhere. You just got to put in that effort to find it out. And you got to do some a little bit different ways of going about your sales tactics if you're finding some problems out there in the market. Because if you're solely relying on the fact that you want to tell everybody you can save them some money and everything else, to me, that's what everybody's saying. You got to get creative out there. And, I'm going to get back to the basics on a lot of the stuff. When I first started creating content, it was those quick little clips, and I'm going to start doing those again. Because, I think that's, I spent some time this morning scrolling through LinkedIn. And frankly, it was like, all I saw was like, I don't know, man. I just didn't like what I saw. Like the value just wasn't there like it used to be. It seems like it's kind of switched to everybody talking about how much their life sucks and how much, all the problems that are going on. And it's like the problems never go away. So I'm going to get back to the basics on stuff. Then obviously this live show and everything. And, this is just a marketing machine, baby. This is a marketing machine. I'm going to show you guys how we're going to do it and take this brokerage of mine from 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 50, 50 to 100 million. I'm going to show you guys how it's done. And then eventually when we're taking over CH Robinson's spot at the top, fuel, $4.83 a gallon still this week, which is $1.35 a gallon up year over year. It's cool to see that it's going down, but from the reports that I'm seeing out there is OPEC is cutting production by 2 million barrels a day. So prices are about to fucking get higher again. So it's going to be interesting to see if we can take credit for the prices going up like people like to take credit for when it goes down. All right, let's break down some articles here. Erica Hamilton, good morning to you. I appreciate that. It's a great way to start your day, coming in and listening to the Freight Coach. Let me see here. Articles. Where the fuck? Here we go. All right, cool. First article is going to be, I'm going to start with this one. Bob Beisterfield from C.H. Robinson is, I saw his post out there. It was from a few days ago. I invited him to come on the show. It was a long shot, but I mean, come on. Realistically, the CEO of C.H. Robinson can't necessarily, I mean, it was worth a shot, but he just didn't have time to come on. Hopefully I can get him on here soon. I really enjoy Bob's content as a whole. But he wrote an article from out there, federal shirking endangers transportation. And without proper regulation, the safety of highways and the efficient economic movement of goods is at risk. This was in the Star Tribune, and he put a post out there with this. And this is an interesting article as a whole. The United States faces a host of economic challenges, from strained global supply chains and rising consumer prices on household goods to hiring challenges and volatile energy prices. A recent position taken by the Biden administration in a submission to the U.S. Supreme Court in C.H. Robinson versus Alan Miller threatens to throw supply chains into chaos and penalize hundreds of thousands of businesses while driving prices higher and risking safety on our roads. While this consequential issue continues to be litigated, what is the most troubling is that the Solicitor General expressed a view that the U.S. government, through the FMCSA, only provides a bare minimum level of review before deeming a trucking firm safe to operate, one that shippers and brokers of freight can no longer rely on. This should be deeply concerning to everyone who shares public roadways with carriers FMCSA is charged with regulating. It is extremely alarming to manufacturers, shippers, suppliers, brokers, and so on who do this. And also how Congress gave power to the Department of Transportation and FMCSA to oversee transportation contributions to our economy, interstate travel, and importantly, the safety of highway and efficient economic movement of goods. The Solicitor General's assertion contradicts multiple commitments FMCSA made to the public and Congress, citing safety as their highest priority. I wholeheartedly agree with this stance, and I talk about this a lot, and I think I was talking about this the other day. Again, this is why I needed Jamie like Joe Rogan has to pull this up, because like we were talking about that the carrier out in Colorado last year where the driver hit and killed 4 people. They reincarnated and were in business the following day under a whole new authority, and how the FMCSA did literally fucking nothing about that. And, you know, that's the thing is it's like how these carriers can reincarnate, and brokers too here. Like, I'm not just saying this is a trucking company thing. Like, there are plenty of shady brokers out there who fucking screw over so many people, and then they're in business under a new entity the next day, essentially. Like, there's gotta be more vested interest in keeping our roadways safe as a whole, you know, and like the ability to reincarnate after a fatality is fucking insane to me. Like how quick that you can do it. Let's see. It talks about how the FMCSA sets national standards for licensing motoring carriers, brokers, forwarders, and others in the industry. The agency mandates extensive safety regulations for how motor carriers, buses, and transportation companies operate. If FMCSA's licensing of a motor carrier is not deemed a reasonable safety standard, then the standards set by the FMC and CSA are rendered meaningless. And let me see here. Solicitor General's new position proposes that brokers and shippers may be liable for using motor carriers who were vetted, licensed, and authorized by the FMCSA to operate and transport freight on our highways. If this position stands, brokers and shippers, not the government, will be tasked with independently determining safety criteria for hundreds of thousands of companies and more than 1 million trucks. We will soon see a confusing, inconsistent patchwork of standards, along with lawsuits threatening our economy as well as our public safety. I'm going to read this one in whole, you guys, because there's a lot of good information in this one. Without a clear federal standard for what constitutes safe selection, some shippers and brokers have already begun excluding motor carriers from their networks based on their own assessment of who is safe and who is not. This harms small carriers with 5 trucks or fewer who make up 90% of the market. It's 97% of the market. Anyways, a large percentage of which are minority owned and is discouraging to new entrants into the market. With an already strained global supply chain, if FMCSA continues to abdicate the responsibility it previously assumed, going on out there. Yeah, I mean, a lot of, sorry, the page just refreshed. A lot of what's in here, I mean, it's in honestly, my opinion on what a lot of government agencies are is just pass the fucking buck. It is their job to do it. And again, I will say this, I will push back on his assessment that we as brokers shouldn't be vetting our carrier partners. And again, that's why I wanted him on there, because I wanted some clarification on that piece as well. Because I feel like as a freight broker, you should be fully vetting all of the carriers based off of your own research, as well as what the FMCSA puts out there. Because again, I don't think you can just like solely place the blame on them if, you know, because things do slip between the cracks. And that's why you have compliance departments and everything else is out there. But I feel like the buck ultimately stops with the FMCSA, who is the governing body of our industry on top of the Department of Transportation. And that if they have not identified a motor carrier as unfit or unsafe, others should be able to rely on that assessment when tendering freight. Common sense must prevail, and we urge the administration of the FMCSA to publicly acknowledge and clarify their primary role for providing a uniform system out there. We look forward to supporting legislative remedies such as HR 3042 and the Motor Carrier Safety Selection Act. And it is clearer than ever that the national selection standard is immediately needed. And this was signed by a litany of individuals in this industry, whom I respect a lot based off of who they are. And, you know, to me personally, and there are some carriers on here as well out there, because again, it's just like, to me, it just shows that the accountability of the governing body of our industry is just assuming, essentially passing the buck on to everybody else in the industry, that if they fuck up, the FMCSA, it's on you to pay for it, you know? And it's, again, it's just like removing all liability away from there. And it's why you need to obviously vet and read all those contracts that you guys sign out there, because there's plenty of those clauses in there with people that you work with as well in this industry. I just think that as a whole, you need to be vetting your carrier partners no matter what the FMCSA states, because again, things happen and your insurance company won't care at the end of the day. And, you know, obviously a lot of this comes from, I know that C.H. Robinson is in another massive lawsuit out there. And, you know, it was, you know, again, like, this isn't a knock on CH at all. When you are that big, when you are moving that much freight, you're frankly going to, your risk and your exposure is going to be exponentially larger. That's out there. But I definitely agree with his stance on this. Like, the FMCSA needs to be held accountable. They need to be, if they're going to be in charge of us and telling us the standards, they can't assume no liability in this. And yeah, so it, to me, is, it's a good article, you guys. I would definitely read it all if I were you, especially every single freight broker out there, because you guys need to see this. I would also do your research on the case in the Supreme Court right now with C.H. Robinson and some of their past lawsuits as well. Again, don't take this as legal advice. I'm not a fucking attorney at all. But you guys really need to do research on this shit, because a lot of the stuff that you're telling carriers right now will literally bankrupt you. All right. It seriously will. You need to do your research. Please, for the love of God, do your research out there. This article was from the Star Tribune, and this was written by Bob Beiserfield, who's the CEO of C.H. Robinson. And I know C.H. Robinson watches this show. All right. And if you're watching the show and you're from C.H. Robinson, do your boy a favor. Reach out to Bob. I've reached out to him. I'd love to have him come on here and talk about this, because again, this is something that I feel like affects the industry as a whole. It's not just a broker or a carrier or a shipper thing. This literally affects the industry as a whole. And I would love to have him come on here and talk about this in particular, if he's got time. Hell, I'll even fly to Minneapolis and bring the entire studio to his office if he can't leave. I'll be there tomorrow. All right. That article is from Star Tribune. And obviously every article that I break down, you guys, the links are put up on the YouTube channel for the Freight Coach, as well as the Coffee with the Freight Coach podcast platform for the audio only replay on that. It's getting caught up here. Let me see. LI is full of NVA chatter, but some good content can be, yeah. Some guy by the name of C Jolly does put good stuff out there. Thanks, Matt. I appreciate that. Just stop following the dead weight and improve it. Yeah. You know what, man? I really need to start doing that. I need help to go through and just start eliminating some of those connections. Whitney Fowler, what's up? Let's fucking go. Good to see you out here. Kyle, yes, they really are one on one lately. They really are. Taxpayer punted API was down for 30 minutes yesterday during business hours. Yes, that was something that Kyle and I discovered. And Sunny Sharma, I agree with that. FMCSA is a joke. All right, next article. Freightwaves.com. Transportation market loosened as September progressed. Peak season concerns rise as conditions deteriorate throughout a month. Transportation capacity increased for a 6th consecutive month in September, with prices falling for a 3rd straight time. The Logistics Managers Index, which is produced using responses from a monthly survey measuring supply chain activities, showed the transportation capacity sub-index jumped 7.5 percentage points to 71.8 in the recent month, with the 2nd highest level recorded in the 6-year history. And then a reading above 50 indicates expansion, while the one below 50 indicates contraction. This month's reading only trails behind April's 2019 of 72. The outlook for next year's calls for capacity to remain elevated as well. The forward-looking expectation inched 1 point higher. Sorry, guys, I'm just skimming over this one because there's a lot of. All right. Survey from a sponsor shows weaker. The rapid changes may be attributed to the beginnings of a sharp slowdown, or conversely could be the wave of a calm before increased activity that we may see during Q4, the report said. At this point, it is impossible to tell for certain, but what is clear is the rate of growth in the logistics industry slowed drastically in late September, a time when things would be picking up in normal times. All right. I'm just skimming over this, you guys, because again, some of this stuff is just, it's painting one picture. It can be contradicting at times out there because the headline says one thing while the body of it is as other. Again, it could be a calm before a storm. Let me see. I just think that, again, the overall freight market, and I'm not saying that there aren't challenges out there. All right. I want to be very, very, very abundantly clear. I am not saying that there aren't challenges out there, but as a whole, if we're looking at overall freight volumes, it's still up. All right. And although it could have slowed down, again, it doesn't state, and again, fact checkers can point it out if I'm wrong. It doesn't state where they're pulling their data from, on the because when it said it slowed down at the end of September in comparison to what, August or September of 21, September of 20, what does it look like? Because the aggregate data that I see as a whole and other sources that are out there that, obviously when you're looking at a graph of freight data and volumes and everything else, yes, there was a massive uptick in freight, so like what is it, like what can you call it? Like, is it the bottom following out if it goes down to normal freight levels, and like, I guess that's the clarification that I want. And again, if it's out there, I'd love to see it, but can you sit here and bang the drum, then everything's falling apart if it normalizes, if it goes back down to normal, if the spike in the market goes away, just like how a certain government agency loves to say that they have nothing to do with prices going up, but love to celebrate the drastic drop of it and how they had everything to do with it falling. Is it really a cause for celebration either way? Like my problem is it's just, there's nothing in here that says what somebody can do with this data, And again, I can see the point of, oh, hey, we're just here to report it. Well, there's people who make business decisions based off of your reporting. And if you're putting something out there and you're not providing a piece of clarification on what somebody could do to improve their operation or stay in business right now, this is just the shit that I don't like as a whole. That article was from Freightwaves, and it's transportation market loosened as September progressed. I think right now more than ever, when you're looking at this freight market that we're operating in, control what you can control. All right. If you're committing to freight right now and you misquoted it, it's not your customer's fault. It's your fault that you misquoted it. Don't give it back. Own your commitments right now. This is going to be one of those markets, you guys, that you're going to make your money in volume. All right. One hit wonders are done. You're going to make your money in volume. And that's what you need to stick to. That's the concept that you need to stick to for probably the foreseeable future, because there's not going to be a massive influx in pricing probably until, I don't even want to say it's going to be a massive, but there's not going to be another rebalance between the spot market and contract, because obviously contract is very high compared to spot right now. Obviously, you would only be a fool if you would reject a higher paying load to put it out there in the spot market. But when rebids come through, and depending on how customers rebid next year, there's going to be a rebalance at some point. All right, where spot market is eventually going to catch up, or it's going to be within a certain percentage point to where it's going to make more sense for people are going to start rejecting those and putting it out there in the spot market. And then you're going to see a rebound. I don't know when that's going to happen, if it's going to happen in 23 or not, but that's the next evolution of this freight cycle. All right. It's not just going to stay down. It's not going to continue to plummet and everything else. It's going to rebalance eventually between spot and contract. Generally speaking, it's not going to be in Q1 of 23. Q1 of 23 in a historical freight market is going to be very low volume as a whole in certain segments. That's why, what my friend Dean Croakey with DAT put out there the other week, have those payments in the bank for Q1 of next year if you're a small carrier. Last article, fleetowner.com. Small carriers request increased transparency with brokers. And here we are again with OOIDA, banging the drum about the rates. Again, this happened a few months ago as when they started this. My problem is, and again, if you find an article where OOIDA was speaking about this in 2021 when rates were sky fucking high, I would love to see that article. I didn't find it. I did research on it and I couldn't find it. But to me, we can't just bang this fucking, and that's what would piss me off if I was a member of OOIDA. Why are you only banging this drum when the market shifts? Like, nobody was complaining when their dues were increased and everything else. That's probably what it has to do. Again, I don't know how OOIDA prices out their shit. It might be, if it's based off of revenue of company, it might be affecting their rates on their dues or whatever. But to me is that, okay, it's a perception that brokers are taking a huge markup when they're brokering a road. Is that the case? In some instances, yes, but not all the fucking time. Like, Jesus Christ, if you're going to survive as a broker in this next, in the way that this market's going to operate, you're not going to make above 10% on a load. All right. 12% is probably going to be an overly healthy margin on a load because you're going to have to stay competitive. So if you're out there, OOIDA, and you're telling me as a broker, I don't deserve to make $100 on a load when I'm setting the appointments and everything's going right, I don't deserve to make $100. I think that's bullshit. All right. I think that's bullshit. I deserve to make money as a broker. All right. Plain and simple. Carriers deserve to make money. If I'm paying a fair market rate that's out there, if I'm paying the carrier what they need, and if you're sitting here telling me that I need to keep record of all this, which most brokers do, all right, most brokers do. But if you're going to bang this drum when when you guys are making money too. All right, don't just do that when it's convenient to rile the troops and gain some more people to buy and give you guys membership dues, because that's just what it seems like to me from my perspective. Is that's what it's there for, because this wasn't happening when people were getting paid $8 and $9 a mile. This was not happening at all, because there is real privacy concerns that are out here. All right. And yeah, because this is another good, here, I'm going to read this little quick thing from my friend, Nicole Glenn. She's the CEO of Candor Expedite. Brokers have privacy concerns, many other confidentiality agreements for the sake of shippers who do not want their information shared with third parties such as carriers. She goes on to say, I have a lot of large shippers that I work with, and I have to sign NDAs. Yeah, weird. I know, we do. In regards to everything, prices, their names, their logos, everything. Opponents of the petition are worried that regulating the disclosure of the transaction records instead of allowing the decision to be made on a case-by-case basis and brokerage agreements with carriers place an undue administrative burden on brokers. I think most brokers keep a lot of these records that are out there, but to share confidential information, it's just not the case. Because, I mean, in all reality, the same thing could be made in the other direction. I don't want this. I hate this back and forth. This doesn't do anybody any good. What I hate about this article is it's not the article itself. It's not Fleet Owner. I think Fleet Owner did a good job of writing about this, but it's OOIDA's stance of only talking about this when the market shifts. All right. And it's just to drum up and get new signups. That's my honest opinion on it. That article is Fleet Owner. Some small carriers request increased transparency with brokers. I would love for OOIDA to come on the show and talk about this with me. I'd love to have an honest conversation about this, because if it happened during 21, if there was an article out there and they were petitioning it then, perfect. I would love to talk about that. But that's it for today, you guys. Freight Coach Morning Show. We're the top morning show in transportation. It's no secret at this point. We're live every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines. And if you guys saw value in this, share the show. Because if you guys see value in it, your network's going to see value in it as well. I appreciate you guys all so much, and we'll be talking to you soon.